Okay, let's talk about colors in this video. There's actually a nice section here on the CSS tutorial, CSS colors. And so far, the only colors we've done have been like names, color red, color purple, whatever. And that's one way to do colors, is just using names. There's all sorts of different colors. There's apparently 140 standard color names that you can explore. You can also do, so now we're talking about, we'll get into the background color and stuff. We're just doing text color for now. Borders we'll talk about later. But there are also different color values. RGB stands for red, green, blue. So this is the amount of red, the amount of green, the amount of blue. And it's basically a 0 to 255. So 255 would be full red, 0 would be no red. 99 is in between 0 and 255, so a bit of green, but not full green, right? And same with 71. You can also use this the hex values here. FF6347, it's basically is hexadecimal values, which we haven't studied yet, but it's similar to the RGB. The first two letters here represent the amount of red, or numbers, sorry, and then the next two digits represent the amount of green, and then the next two represent the amount of blue. So it's a similar system, but just a different number system. HSL I don't really use too often, but you can, and you can also use RGBA. So RGB, and then this last value is an alpha value, which gives you transparency. So 0 means it's fully transparent, like you can't even see it, and 1 is fully opaque, that it's full color. And anywhere between that gives you the different values. Okay, so here explains RGB values a little more. You even have a little slider here, right? So if I go full red and no green, you get red. No red, green, or blue is black. We got green. We got blue. If we have full green and that, we get cyan, I think it's called. That's white, magenta. Anyway, play around with all the different values and you get different colors. Okay, now what I'd like to do on this web page here is I made this red, and I had the idea that maybe it would be neat to match the color from this picture for the heading, and then take the color from this picture for this heading, and the color from this picture for this heading. I don't know if that'll look great, but let's give it a try. So, to get the colors from the headings, I've got my web dev skills folder, right, images, and I'm going to open this up in paint.net. And in paint.net, there is this wonderful eyedropper tool, and you can just click anywhere on the image and it selects that color. If we click more, it gives me the RGB or the hex value for it. Right? So I'm just going to copy and paste the hex value. Copy. And what I'd like to do is, yeah, we had this red class, right, which is the one we did here. And I'm actually going to go back to HTML because I want to use it to more identify this as the HTML heading. So I need to change that to HTML. And instead of red, I'm going to go color hashtag that code. And Visual Studio Code is kind of cool. It gives me this little preview. And in fact, I thought if I, oh, maybe I don't have that right now. I've seen it before where it'll actually open up a color picker inside of here and I can adjust it. Oh, there it was. I think I just hover over it. And you can actually, right inside of the Visual Studio Code, you can play around with the numbers. I don't want to do that though, because that's the color I wanted. Cool, so it matches the same color from there. All right, let's try it with the CSS logo. Open with paint.net. Take that blue. And this time let's take the RGB 1, 112, and 186. So I'm going to forget that, but that's okay. So inside of this H2 here, we're going to go class equals, let's just go CSS. And then to select I go dot CSS, right? Dot for the class CSS. And we'll go color RGB 1, 112, 186. That might be right. Let's just make sure. 1, 112, 186. Awesome. So that's the color, and there it is. It matches that. And then last but not least, the JavaScript. I feel this might be too light, but we'll give it a try anyway. Where am I? Right here. JS logo, open with paint.net. And I'm just going to take the hex this time. It's a little more convenient. And we'll go .js color. Now notice how it's not working. I have to do the hashtag first. That represents the symbol for the hex code. Okay, save that, and you'll notice that it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Because I defined the rule here, but I didn't actually make this h2 be part of the class. Class equals JS. There it is. Okay, cool. All right, so like I said, that's an example of color and also review of these selectors, right? We've got element selectors, grouping selectors, and class selectors. There is also the ID selector, but I recommend using that sparingly. Class works very well too. Okay, we've got some time here. Why don't we look at styling links? Because we've got these links and they do not look very nice with that purple I had down here too. Let's actually get a little more space and add an HR at the end of that section too. Anyway, okay, cool. All right, so links. Again, if I go to CSS links, you can do all sorts of stuff with links. Change the color of it. There's also different states. And this is kind of cool. Link is your normal unvisited link. Visited means it's been visited before. Hover is when you are hovering over it with your mouse. And active is while it's being clicked. And you can actually style different things. Actually, let's just look at this try it yourself example. So the unvisited link is red, which means I must have checked this out before, because the visited link is green. If I hover over it, it turns hot pink. And the active is blue. So that's as I'm clicking it, right? I'm holding the mouse down now, it turns blue. Cool, and it took me here. All right. It talks here about some of the order. The hover must come after the link and the visited, and active must come after hover. So you got to be careful about your order. I actually usually don't use all of these different states. I find the most common thing that I'll do is I don't care about when I'm clicking on it or when it's visited. I don't want it to look different in those cases. So what I find I usually do is I'm going to just use my, maybe we should organize some of this stuff a little bit here. Let's make a comment and say these are my section headers. And then the span, I'm going to put that over here. Oh yeah, this tutorial, maybe I'll go down here. And this was my, my tutorial notes for that. These are my styles for my basic, text styles, right? For my headings and my paragraphs. Yeah, okay. It depends how you want to organize it. Depends on what you're all doing. All right. So now that I started to organize it, I totally forgot what I was going to do. So let's go back here. Oh yeah, links. So let's go to the bottom here and let's style link styles. So links are my A tags. And I'm just going to say select all links because I want to apply the same styles to all the links on my page, which are the 1, 2, 3 links. Okay. And what I'd like to do with these links is, let's just start by going, change the color maybe to, what color do we want? Maybe a nice blue. I think if I go to CSS colors, I can maybe find either a name or, oh, there's a color picker. I could use that. And let's do something like this. CC. All right, I'm going to copy that, make it that nice blue. And I also want to go text decoration, none. And that's going to get rid of the underline. Right, CSS tutorial, it still turns into a hand because it's a link, but it gets rid of the underline. That's pretty, I know it's kind of a common thing, but it usually doesn't look great. What we could do though is to make it more obvious that this is a link, is just go A:hover, which is one of the states that it can be in, And let's go text decoration underline. And then when you hover over it, it'll show the line kind of like that. Right? Gives it that style, and then gives you that indication. Oh yeah, it's still a link. Let's click that. Okay, cool. And like I said, when I hold it down, nothing changes. If I visited, it's still blue. I don't need a different style for when it's visited. But you can do whatever you want, right? Like if you look here, just go to that CSS links. It shows you the different states: link, visited, hover, and active. But like I said, I often just do the A tag and give it some styles, and then go from there. Okay, let's look at our list here. Style different states, we did that. We looked at colors, font families, font sizes. Got a little bit of time here. Why don't we try a few things? Oh yeah, let's. There's something called font variant. CSS fonts, I think it's all the way down to the bottom. Font style, font size. Oh dear, responsive font size. We won't get into that yet. That's more advanced. Font variant. So small caps is an option. I'm just going to copy and paste this. And I kind of like this look. I just want my H2s to go font variant small caps. And you'll see that it basically took all of the lowercase letters and made them small capitals. So learn HTML, learn CSS, learn JavaScript. I like that. Okay. This is looking better in terms of our fonts are a little nicer. We've got some letter spacing. We've got some color in here and some images. Our links look a little nicer. What we'll start doing now is looking at how we can use the box model to lay this out a little bit better. Maybe center our content inside of a frame, get some background colors, maybe background images, stuff like that. Box model and background. So we'll look into that. Okay. Again, just a quick review. Make sure you are good with these idea of the class selectors so that we can use those. And then we talked about links that we can style the link in different states. In fact, you can actually do anything. P, hover, and you could say color red. And you can actually kind of, whenever you, it doesn't have to be just links, whenever you hover over a paragraph, or a span, or a EM, or any element, the hover works. But it's just very common to do that with links. Okay, that's it for this video. We'll see you in the next video. Hope that made sense. And take care.